Yesterday, if I can get this video out in time, Manix and LazerBlitz just released a new Geometry Dash spin-off game available on the public main game servers called Geometry Dash Deeper Space. Today we're covering everything you need to know, including short breakdowns of each of the 8 levels in order, my brief thoughts on them, whether it's a good spin-off or not, if it genuinely feels like it could be a real Geometry Dash spin-off game. If you do enjoy today's video, please remember to like and subscribe. It always helps out the channel a ton. You'll see more content like this, and you can always undo it later. And without further ado, let's get into the video. First, we have Cosmic Dolphin, which is the easiest level of the pack. This is probably the best use of a rainbow block design that I've seen in a very long time, and the swing section in this level is very easy and short, but still pretty interesting given how unique the structuring is for the part. It's really chill, it's very laid back and fairly easy. There's a lot of really good sync parts in the level, but it starts off the whole list with a very simple and laid back vibe before it goes into more intense levels as we get further and further into the spin-off. Another gimmick I really like are these ring portals that you jump through in the UFO, which I think are pretty unique and interesting. While the level doesn't exactly feel like a robtop level, I still think it does a really good job of starting the whole series out, which is I think a common theme of most of the levels in this pack is they don't exactly feel 100% like robtop levels, but they get at least decently close. Next up is Groovy Tower, which I honestly think is one of the levels in this pack that feels a lot more like it is a robtop level. It's still relatively simplistic, it uses a lot of the new 2.2 features, but in moderation so that it's not too difficult or unsight readable. There are a couple parts that feel a little unsight readable for newer players, but other than that, it does a really good job, just being a relatively fun, simple level that's rather easy to start off the whole spin-off game. I especially like the song choice for this level. It's an absolute bop for sure, and I really appreciate the ending part kind of feeling a little bit like Knock 'em from way back in Geometry Dash Sub-Zero. Overall, another nice level. Okay, so now we get into the third level, which is a little bit more gimmicky, but it does also at the same time feel like a robtop level. The main gimmick of this level is just that it's circus themed / clown themed because it is called Clown Party, using the song by Waterflame that everyone knows and loves and dubs out of their videos because it's copyrighted. While the gimmick makes it feel less like a robtop level that could actually be in a spin-off or just a spin-off level in general, the level itself is still really cool. Like, the gimmick is very well done in this level. Towards the end, there's this whole section where there's like an audience watching you play on the stage and kind of laughing at you. Towards the beginning, all of like the little spike enemies have the red nose that you can like jump on or whatever to like get a coin and stuff. Even though it's kind of a rather odd one, it's still one of my favorite levels out of the pack. The gimmick is really well done, and it still feels simple enough to keep with the idea of having a fan-made spin-off, but it doesn't exactly fit in with any of the other levels. It's not even remotely space-themed. Like, at least even Cosmic Dolphin had some stars in one of the parts, and it's not like that isn't an issue with several of the levels in this whole pack, but this one more stands out to me at least. Fourth level is Fire Exit, and I really like this one. This is by far the most 2.2 themed / robtop style level that we've gotten in this pack so far. It is remarkably close to the kind of level that robtop would make in a potential 2.2 spin-off. It's really insane. On top of that, the sync is immaculate, and there's like little details like sound effects that play when you collect the coins and stuff that sync with the song. It's really cool. I don't exactly know what I would characterize this part as, but I really like this little gimmick where there's 4 pathways and you alternate between the 4. It almost feels like a better version of the whole cross-section in Explorers that everyone kind of rags on from the preview. But yeah, again, overall a very solid level. The next level is Phone Me First, which very much feels like a harder version of what Fire Exit was going for. I think the gameplay, especially use of the arrow trigger, is really clever in this level, and it was probably one of the more fun ones to play for me. But in all honesty, other than that, I don't really have much to say for it. Next up is level 6, On the Run, which is a very fast-paced level, as it might be implied in the title. The song very much matches the pace of the level, and there's a lot of really cool click sync in this level as well. It's also partially city-themed, which I think really does tie into the idea of being on the run. By the time I got to this level, I kind of gave up on the idea that it's all space-themed necessarily. Its main goal from the beginning was just to be a spin-off game, but I'm way too space fanboy to like not pass up that opportunity. There's especially this part that I like, which has the whole city block design and the city background, which is really cool. Probably one of my favorite parts out of any of the spin-off levels so far. Next up is How We Win, which is a really unique level. This one has another gimmick of the whole gravity trigger, in which it says on the screen, warning, low gravity, when the gravity trigger is applied to make it very low gravity gameplay, and then says gravity stabilized when it moves back to the original gravity that isn't modified by the gravity trigger. This is by far the best use of the gravity trigger that I have seen so far since 2.2 released, and it's only been a few months. So I'm sure we'll see even more creative uses of it in the future, perhaps even later in this level pack, because spoiler alert, there is. There's 2 other parts of this level that I find to be really unique and exciting, including this sort of like LED sign in the background that has the lyrics of the song on it. I don't know how this works, but towards the end of the level, the gameplay has a lot of like these teleport Mario tubes. We've seen this in a few 2.2 levels before, but like there will be both of your icons on the screen at the same time. One popping out of one of the tubes before the other one enters the teleport portal or whatever. It's really weird, but it looks really cool. Again, just more creative uses of the new 2.2 features that I was really hoping we would see more of towards the beginning of the update before everything turned into lobotomy. Oh yeah, and then the end of the level is a finish line because, you know, how we win. Get it? And then finally there is level 8, which is by far the most complex one, and the hardest level in the list. Space Invaders, another collab by Manix and lazerblitz. A duo that I thought was long gone, but has now finally returned. There's honestly so much about this that I like that I could make a whole video on it. But basically, it's themed around, well, Space Invaders, the video game, and kind of just the general theme of an alien takeover. The end of the level has an even more creative use of the gravity trigger, which is something that I also find to be really cool, and that cute little Super Smash Bros. Pointer thing when your cube goes off screen for a bit. It's really cool. There's also kind of a boss fight that mirrors the one frame of the boss fight we saw from Explorers. It's overall just a really intense and very interesting level, and by far the hardest level in this whole spin-off thing. There's been a lot of people bickering on whether it's a hard or insane demon, but I personally think it's probably a hard demon. I haven't beaten it yet, so I can't really speak 100%, but that's kind of more the vibe I'm going for. It's probably my personal favorite out of the entire level, and well, it does not feel like it could have been a robtop level at all in an actual spin-off. It does a very good job of tying together the whole project. Tons of pixel blocks and 2.2 references and whatnot. It's partially space-themed. It's got its own gimmicks. Overall, just taking all of the really cool aspects of all of the previous levels and using a lot of those or making similar ones in this level. So with all that said and done, is it overall a good spin-off game? Slash, is it worth your time to beat all of these? I would say absolutely yes. This is one of the coolest projects I've seen so far, especially done with the new list mechanic that was added in 2.2, which I want to make a whole video on lists and their untapped potential, so let me know in the comments if you want to see that video. It's definitely really fun to play if you have the skill to beat something like Space Invaders, but you can also just beat the first 7 levels if you are able to beat easy or medium demons for the last couple, and still have it be a pretty comfortable experience that you just have some fun with. I'm not entirely sure if every level in this pack is going to get rated, so you might not get the rewards associated with beating most levels for some of them, but I would still say they're definitely worth your time, especially if you haven't really dedicated too much time to learning a lot of the new 2.2 gameplay mechanics like the camera triggers and whatnot. Each level individually is really cool, and together make a really interesting experience. Does it feel like a Geometry Dash game? Not really. I mean, it is a fan-made spin-off for a reason. It's not really possible to 100% match the vibe of robtop's levels, and even if you were to do that, the reason why robtop's levels are seen as so interesting is because, well, they're official levels of the game, and they introduce features of the same update that those levels are released in. That would probably be my only gripe with this project, but even then I completely understand why they wouldn't really necessarily want to stick with that. There are a couple levels in this pack that I would say do a very good job of mirroring robtop style levels, or what robtop's levels would probably look like if he was going to do a whole 2.2 spin-off. Since Sub-Zero was so long ago, it doesn't include even half the features that released in 2.2. But if you go into this with the mindset that it's 100% a Geometry Dash spin-off and that's exactly how it's going to feel, you might be a little disappointed. My recommendation is just to go into it thinking of it as a sort of fan-made sequel and not something that robtop could have made completely himself, because at the end of the day, that is what it is, a fan-made spin-off, and a pretty good one at that. Overall, I would give this level pack 8 out of 10, but please play it yourself. The list ID is in the description if you do want to play it, and yeah, that's it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Click on the video cards on the end screens now, see similar content on this channel or on my meme channel, and again, subscribing would really be helpful. I really appreciate it, and yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.